Hello, and welcome to this introductory case study in this course, AI for Interpersonal Skills Excellence. So let's take a look at this case study of using AI and building excellence in interpersonal skills using AI. So here is a case study that you can use to learn directly, and it is with AI woven as a coach, right? To build real interpersonal excellence, right? So this case study is about how one individual who was technically strong, professional, but had poor interpersonal skills and used AI as a personal coach to become emotionally intelligent, collaborative, and influential at work. So let's take a look at this case study. What did he or she do? So it's a case of name mask, face mask, also gender mask. It could be he or she. We assume here the name is Omar Haddad, and he is a data engineer in a global tech company and is strong in analytics, problem solving, and technical. He's very strong there. His weaknesses are he's blunt in communication, listens poorly, impatient in meetings, and is seen as difficult to work with, right? But his goal is to build, he realizes all that because, as you will see, he's been given feedback, and his goal is to build, you know, excellent interpersonal skills of communication, empathy, listening, collaboration, and conflict handling to become a respected team lead. He wants to grow in life, right? So that's the situation. So let's dig a deep into the challenge. And here, how Omar came to know about is that his manager admired his work, right? But kept getting complaints. He kept getting complaints like Omar interrupts people, he makes other people feel stupid, he sends cold, harsh emails. No one wants to work with him, cross-functional project. And in his performance review, the manager told Omar, that you have strong technical skills, right, in the team, but your interpersonal skills are limiting your career growth, and you will not be promoted to lead roles unless this changes. So initially, Omar was defensive, right, as all of us would be. And he told his manager that I'm just being honest, people are too sensitive. But when he saw a project that he wanted to do was given to someone else because they were easier to work with, it really hit him hard that this is happening now. So he thought, if I don't fix this, I will always be the backroom expert, never the leader. So that was the challenge. What was the turning point? What happened that made the whole thing change? So it was, Omar didn't feel comfortable sharing his insecurities with the coach and HR. So he decided to use AI as his private, practice partner, as a coach itself, because it involved no judgment. He can experiment, make mistakes, and get feedback. And this gave him a personal mission that in 6 months' time, he will become a person that people choose to work with. So that was the turning point of realizing that this is what he needs to do and this is doable with AI. So Omar used a five-step framework that we will call as AI human. He used AI like ChatGPT and Copilot as and he used them as simulator, mirror, and a coach. And how did he do that? Let's take a look at using this five-step framework. So the first step of this was to use AI to hold a mirror onto himself or to you. And he focused on communication first. And he started by copying his own emails and chat message into AI and asking to AI to rewrite the mail, you know, uh, same content, but more respectful, collaborative, and empathetic. And also ask it to tell him that what might the recipient feel when he or she reads his original version. An example, of this would be, uh, ori- uh, you know, original email by Omar. was saying that you sent the wrong data again. I already explained the format last week. And also, he said that please follow instructions properly, and this is delaying everything. So that was his kind of curt email from Omar. So he asked AI the feedback, and what was AI's feedback? AI said, your tone is accusing, shaming, no ownership, no solution, and likely emotional reaction is defensive and demotivated, right? So that is what happened. And AI suggested on us of Omar asking on what he should be doing. So there was a suggested rewrite that uh, AI came back and he said, you need to write something like this that I noticed the data file is in a different format than we discussed last week, and this is causing some delays at my side. Could we quickly sync on our expected structure? I am happy to walk through an example so it's easier to go forward. And thank you for your help on this. Once again, once we align, things will move much faster. So that was the suggested rewrite by AI. Now, Omar was shocked, right? How small changes in wordings, once he did those rewriting things, how these small changes in wordings change the emotional impact. And once he found some truth in what he was getting benefit of, he spent 2 weeks in running the messages through AI, comparing old versus new tone, and building awareness of how the words landed on other people. And what he learned was that I'm not a bad person, but I have never learned how to write like I care. So that is the first step of awareness that Omar had. The second thing was once he was aware, he needed to use AI for role play difficulties interaction to improve. So, Omar struggled with, things like, disagreeing with sounding without sounding rude, giving feedback, saying no to unrealistic demands. So that is what he struggled with. So he started using AI for role play. And what did he do there? He asked AI to act as his colleague who delivered poor quality. And he told AI that I'll give you feedback, respond like a real colleague might respond. And then he practiced. What did he practice? You know, Different ways of saying the same thing, asking AI, how did my response sound, and asking, make my reply more empathetic but still honest. And an example of such a role play you could see here is, Omar asked the AI as a colleague, said, you are my colleague. Look, and I'm going to give you this feedback. Let me know how does it sound to you. So he said, look, your work is not good. You need to fix it. This was his original style. And AI responded, that feels rough. I tried my best with the time I had. And Omar asked AI, so help me say the same thing, but constructively. And AI suggested that I appreciate the effort you put in, especially with the tight deadline. Now, there are a few areas that still need refinement to meet the project requirement. Can I walk you through the specific examples and then improve on the work on that together? So that's the kind of example that AI told Omar to practice. Now, with that, he practiced these conversations again and again, right? Until he felt natural. And that's the key thing. That's the key thing. You need to practice till you feel comfortable in the natural way. And what he learned was that interpersonal skill is just like coding. You test it, you debug it, and refactor how you speak. So that's how the improvement started happening with Omar. The third thing he did was to start hear what AI is telling him so that he could, he get trained on active listening. Now, his colleagues often said that, you cut people off, you reply before they finish. So he built a listening practice outline routine using AI. Now, what did he do there? He asked AI, you know, give me a paragraph from the from a colleague explaining the problem that they face at a work. And then he responded as if in a meeting and then asked, did I truly acknowledge their feelings and perspectives? And asked AI to help rewrite my response to show better listening and validation. So that's what he did. Now, before he learned from this, a typical response from Omar would be a default response would be, okay, so what you're saying is the tool is slow, just restart it or clear the cache. Next topic. So it will be as curt as that. So after the coached version, he started saying, he started becoming a bit diplomatic in very careful words. So if I understand correctly, he started repeating his understanding. The tool is freezing several times a day and it is slowing down your work and causing a lot of frustration. And then he said, let me see whether we can fix the root cause of this from happening it again. And then he has asked, can you show me what is really happening? And he learned to repeat back to back, you know, what people said, what he heard, name the feelings, whether it is frustration, pressure, confusion, and ask clarifying questions before jumping to solutions. And what he learned in this whole process was listening is not quiet waiting to talk, it is active, visible understanding. It's a way to understand what the other person is trying to say. So that's the third step. Then the fourth step, Omar used AI to refine conflicts and intention. Now, while dealing earlier, Omar often assumed few things like his colleagues are incompetent, they don't care, they're trying to block me. Now AI helped him reframe this whole mindset. And what he did was he pasted real situations into AI. And there he said, my teammate still hasn't sent the report. I think he is lazy. Help me find three alternative explanations for his behavior that are not negative. Right. And AI suggested a few things. He said that he may be overwhelmed with other work, he may be unclear about expectations, he may be struggling. And Omar started using non-judgmental language instead of saying, "Why are you always late with the reports?" And he with the AI coaching changed to, saying that I've noticed in the last few reports have been delayed. Is there something blocking you that we can solve together? So he became collaborative himself, and his colleagues softened. Right, their relationship improved and the conflicts decrease. And what Omar learned was that most conflicts are not about the bad people. They are about unseen constraints and unspoken fears. So that's what he learned in the fourth step. Then Omar used AI to learn from ideal communicator, the people who do extremely well. Omar admired some leaders who were calm, clear, and kind. So he asked AI, what show me how a skilled, emotionally intelligent leader would respond to a team's mistake, a missed deadline, a disagreement with a senior stakeholder. And AI generated examples, right, of recognizing efforts, of owning their part, balancing honesty with respect, and keeping the relationship intact while addressing the problem. And he started modeling his speech after these examples, right? Uh, and he started saying, help me say in a way a good manager would do that. And rewrite my messages sounding like a supportive solutions instead of accusing. And over time, his language changed, right? From you are wrong to he moved to let's look at this from another angle. And from that makes no sense to I'm not fully following. Can you walk me through your thought process? And his colleagues started saying, you have become much easier to talk to, right? You actually now listen and they feel safe bringing issues to you. And what Homer learned in this whole process was that excellence in interpersonal skill is 80% of the language and intentions, and you can train both. So that's how Homer learned. You can then he started applying in real life with feedback. Homer simply just didn't practice with AI. You know, he asked one trusted colleague uh, to, things like, I'm trying to improve how I come across, right? When I sound blunt or dismissive, please tell me. After meeting, she's asked AI, if I said something in a meeting, like this design won't work, we are going to have scalability issues. Help me rewrite this for the next time in a more collaborative tone, right? He also used AI to prepare before tough conversations on performance feedback, pushing back on deadlines, escalating an issue. And he always asked, show me three versions: diplomatic, direct but respectful, and highly empathetic. And he chose one and adopted it for his own voice. And there he started, you can notice the change. People started noticing the measurable impact within 6 months, right? The complaints about his behavior dropped sharply. People started inviting him to cross functional projects, inviting him. Can you believe this? His manager began putting him in front of the clients and stakeholders because he was so much more confident. And in his next review, his manager said, your interpersonal growth is as impressive as your technical skills, right? And he was promoted to technical lead, right? Not just for his coding, but for his ability to work with people. So that's a change that happened measurable. So, what are the results of using AI to build interpersonal excellence? There are two ways we can look at it. One is the quantitative, and second is what is visible at work, and second is qualitative inside him. So, in quantitative, visible at work, there were fewer explanations, escalations involved, including his name. There were a few complaints against him. More collaborative Slack and email threads happened, more invitations to join important discussions, and he was promoted to a role requiring more people interaction. Qualitatively, inside him, there were less frustration when others made mistakes. He had greater patience, and he was able to regulate tone and emotions, and he was more confident to handle conflicts calmly. So those were the results after some time. So, what are the core lessons that we have learned for using AI to build interpersonal skills at individual level? AI acts as a mirror. You can paste your messages on AI and ask, how might this sound for someone else? You know, and you can ask it to rewrite to be more respectful and collaborative. You can use AI as a role play partner and ask it to simulate tough conversations on feedback, disagreements, negotiation, and practice different tones. You can ask AI, you can use AI as a listening coach. Ask AI to give you a scenario, then reply and ask AI, did I show understanding? How can I respond with better empathy? You can use AI as a reframing tool where you can, when upset, you can ask AI, give me a non negative interpretation of this behavior. And finally, you can use AI as a leadership model by asking, how would an emotionally intelligent leader respond to this situation and learn from the examples and adapt? So, what is the final takeaway? Interpersonal skills isn't about changing who you are, it's about learning how your words and behaviors land on others and intentionally choosing better ones. Using AI, an individual like you can practice privately without embarrassment, get instant feedback and better phrasing, learn from ideal models and communication, and build emotional intelligence through daily micro improvements. And over time, this can turn you into a brilliant but difficult. This can turn a brilliant but difficult person like Omar into a brilliant and trusted one. So that's the final takeaways I see. So what do we do next? So we get on learning with how to use AI for interpersonal skills excellence. What are various ways, tools in AI that you can use? So thank you so much for watching this introductory case study. I hope you're continuing to learn new things, continuing to enjoy. And I do look forward to see you again in the next lecture. Please feel free to message me if you have any questions. I'll be happy to answer your questions. And do download the PDF file if needed to take a look at anything that you need to.